Welcome to the Fat Fuel Family Podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Fat Fuel Family Show. I am your host, Danny, and I'm joined by my beautiful non-combed hair wife right now.
I had what's it called them?
You had the space.
Carla calls them space buns.
The space buns.
They're basically pigtail buns.
I really, really love them.
I wish they were poofier, but that's okay.
You could do them. I love them. They're really cute, my love. I love them. All right. Quick announcements, guys, before we get into this episode, which was awesome, by the way. This was like so many of our ideas and our philosophies in full circle, right? Like, you know, we talked
this
about
topic doesn't get as much attention.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, even when it does, it's almost like a foregone conclusion that people are going to go the medical route.
Yeah.
And so I think this was just something really, really cool. And we just really got along with our guest. Quick announcements. First of all, the link for this year's Rock Body Retreat is up. I'm going to be putting it in the show notes. And that's going to be $7.99 per person. Guys, we did this last year. That's
amazing.
Yeah, right?
How many nights is it?
So it's May 13th through the 17th. It's all inclusive. It's going to be
at the Fives?
At the Fives Beach.
Gosh, you guys are like...
Tell them what you think, you know, because I'm always talking
That's basically like you're staying at like a luxury
It's a full diamond resort.
But it feels like luxury residences.
Yeah.
There. And I actually think people live there.
Yeah.
Like, remember when we were walking, there was like a pool outside every single hotel building.
Yeah. There was 7 pools, I think.
7 pools. And so when we would walk out to the beach, like I just saw people that looked like they lived there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good life.
I was like, these people are totally living there.
Just having those like little monkeys just walking around and
we're excited.
Yeah, it's all inclusive. So
really nice photo ops.
Oh, definitely. Oh my gosh.
Remember that?
So many different places
I slacked last
there.
time. This time, you know I'm on it.
Oh, dude, guys, like there's like, what is that pattern that you love? The black and white?
Is it called Chevron?
Yeah.
No,
Chevron.
Chevron. Yeah, Chevron.
Yeah.
I did post a picture on that one.
So there's that. There's like wooden areas. There's just a whole bunch of
like
really
pretty
cool
picture ops.
And then, you know, I'm going to be leading some morning workouts along with some other world-class trainers. It's just, look, last year we had 100 people in the middle of a pandemic. And this year we actually bought 100 rooms. So we expect like 250 people to come.
So exciting.
Yeah. So
including the winners of my program, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The Fat Fueled Physique program.
We picked those winners, which
Super
two of them will be going, and you guys will be hearing about that as well. I'm also going to be sharing my protein pancake recipe. That I'm going to just put that in the show notes here.
Nice.
And I bring that up because the product that I use, the protein, is made by the same company that I've been using their supplement for recovery, and it's called Recovery.
Oh my gosh. Done.
Dude, like seriously, guys, I covered 276 miles in the month of January. I got 21 lifting workouts in. You know, I really ran my body into the ground as much as possible. And this, I really did this supplement just really was helpful. It's molecular hydrogen. You can read all about it. There's published research at molecularhydrogenstudies.com. They got over 480 studies. So definitely check that out. And now
link to that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, everything's going to be in the show notes for everybody to see. So take a look at that, guys. If you spend $50 once on either of these products, whether it's the protein for the pancakes or the recovery, that gets you VIP pricing for the year, which means you get 20% off for the year. And then the other cool thing is that if you spend $100, you get free shipping. So I personally would recommend getting the buy 3, get 1 free if you really want to try out the recovery, or you can try, you know, a few of the recovery, bottle of protein, whatever. You guys know I'm not someone who gets my protein from actual powders, but it's a great ingredient for snacks and things like that. So definitely check it out. And now let's talk to you a little bit about our guest.
Guest is Liya Teplitsky, a keto diet, fertility, and mindset coach. Liya has a YouTube channel called Resilient Fertility, where she educates women on how to reset their fertility engine and start their way to expanding their family by building a resilient, fertile body. The goal of Resilient Fertility is to provide you with the information that will allow you to get pregnant in a natural way by switching your fuel source from primarily glucose to fat. This can balance your hormones and help your body restore the minerals and vitamins that it needs in order to fertilize the soil, which supports a healthy pregnancy. We really hope you guys enjoy this conversation.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about our sponsor, Keto Brick. As you guys know, I have been around since the very beginning when it was just an idea, when Robert was getting ready for the show that took him pro and he needed something to help him hit his macros. And I've seen it grow into the company it is today. Just so proud of my friend, and I'm so proud of the company he's built, the people he's been able to help, as he has several people who work for them. And so he's actually helping people make a living doing this now, which is just unbelievable and so inspirational to me. If you don't know what Keto Bricks are, they are shelf-stable fat bombs, for lack of a better term. They are 1,000 calorie bricks, and they have great ingredients. They have ketogenic macros, usually like 88 to 90 grams of fat with 30 grams of protein. And then the carbs are anywhere from 9 to 14. Super low carb, super keto friendly, and you can do all types of cool stuff with them. I tell everybody my favorite is Keto Brick cereal. I chop it up into little chunks and serve it with a bowl of cereal with almond milk or goat milk, which is my favorite. They have several flavors. They now have vegan and whey options. So they have the whey protein peanut butter as well as the old school pea protein peanut butter, which either one of them is easily in my top two. Go back and forth between those and the toasted almond coconut. So definitely go to www.ketobrick.com, get yourself some bricks, and use Vega for a chance to win a whole month supply of bricks. Hey Liya, it's great to have you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, this is an important subject.
And I don't think we've actually had anyone like specifically come on and speak about this topic. We've had, like dietitians and just other people kind of Anthony J talk about the epigenetic part of it, but not someone like you who this is what you do. This is like what you're dedicating all your time to, just an expert. So we are really excited to get this conversation started. And we always lead with a question: what is the most critical problem you are currently trying to solve?
All right. So this is really big and I love it. And thank you for the opportunity to actually bring it out there and being able to say it out loud. And it is really big. And I would say it like that. We're trying to solve reverse infertility and bring to the awareness of each woman and man that as long as we were born with eggs and sperm and we're capable to produce more sperm, we're capable to get pregnant naturally. It's really important to understand that. And that's my mission in my business. Everything that I do is to get this information out there that we were born to be parents and we can do this in the most natural way when we give our body the right environment and the right nutrition to perform in that area in our life.
I love that. And I love your approach. It's all a whole thing. There's so many layers.
Yes. So, when we're talking about the alternative solution that is out there, we know that IVF, IUI, all of these treatments, medications are there to solve one symptom only. It's like we're saying to a diabetic person that we're going to solve your diabetes by giving you insulin. Correct. This is not solving the problem. It gives treatment to one symptom, but it does not solve the problem. Exactly the same is the IVF. And this is where the medical system, just like in other areas, other prevention of other disease or medicated other diseases, in infertility, they do exactly the same. They do it as good in installing fear and installing understanding that a woman sometimes is not capable to make it happen for herself naturally. And this is a lie. It's an absolute lie. So we're in a place right now where over 30% of the population in America, and by the way, worldwide, is infertile. So how do we define infertility? When a couple is trying, or a woman by herself, is trying to get pregnant consistently by month over 1 year. Now, we know that the rates are over 30%, but we really don't know about all the women that are not going to the doctor, that are not checking themselves, right? So it's probably way higher than what it is. And so everything that we're learning from social media is that it's okay. It's not your fault. You know, we have all of this blaming on somebody else and not enough taking responsibility. And I'm saying taking responsibility and not sink into blame and guilt. There's a difference.
Yes,
there is a difference here. Okay? There is, I have a certain condition that I'm in, and I'm taking full responsibility for the choices that I have made so far in my life, whether I was conscious or not conscious, whether I was knowledgeable or I refused to know. And I was just like, I don't want to know this, all of these things. Whatever it is, I'm going to take full responsibility for my current condition. And then from there, I'm going to say, okay, I'm ready to change. I'm ready to reverse this. And that's the beauty. Our body is so resilient and it gives us so many chances. And it can take us back to where we're supposed to be so fast. And this is really, really important to understand, because often when a woman comes to a point where she is trying and doesn't work for her, she starts to form a belief that she can't, that it's genetic, right? Just like you said, that something is wrong with me. I'm not capable. And we're even talking here about women that already had children before and lost the capability because of, again, environmental and nutritional decisions that they made throughout their way. And so now they're literally looking for any information outside of themselves that will reassure their new belief. And then they take the next step. Maybe I should go to a fertility doctor. And then when they get there, it's done. It's done. Their brain knows only one thing. I am infertile. I have a problem. And without medication, I will not be able to solve this. And listen, guys, I have nothing against IVF. Okay? I'm just saying that it's just not a solution. So many women are convinced at this point that it's their acceleration process. This is how they will get there faster. And so every fertility doctor that you go to today will tell you that if you want to increase your success rate, you must supplement. How ironic is that, right? You must supplement with better nutrition and change some of your daily habits. Every doctor that has some, common sense will say that to that lady. But their job is to eventually prescribe the process, the cycle, the medicine that will suit this woman. So they're doing very, very well in what they're supposed to do. So they're doing their job. That's their job. They're doing their job amazingly. But the second half is where they lack the information. So they don't know what's the diet to prescribe because it's not their job. It's not in their education. They don't even want to understand that because, to be honest, it just doesn't really serve their business. And once they will get to understand the truth, it's going to be really painful for them. So this is the thing, I'm going a lot on Facebook groups, and Instagram is huge in the infertility. There's trillions of hashtags related to infertility. And it's an epidemic by itself. And very, very often you would see posts like, I'm good. I don't need any more advice. I'm done. I got this. I know what to do. Let me go. There's so much emotional, so much sensitivity. It's a topic that is extremely difficult to talk about on social media. All women are going to social media to receive compassion, to receive understanding from other women that are going through the process, instead of receiving advice. So often, sometimes I will answer some of the posts that women are putting their stories out there, and I will try to put their direction into a different thought, and I will get some hate. And and it just shows me the level of defense mode that the woman gets into when she gets to that point. When she is ready to medicate herself and stab herself every single day and say to herself, okay, I did everything that I could, instead of saying, wait, what is going on here? Is this normal? Is this how it should be like? Really, really be honest with yourself and check in. And so here's a striking piece of information. For me, it was really mind-blowing when I started to understand who are the women that I can help most, okay? So I went out there and I see that there is two types of infertile women. Number one is the one that it's written on the wall, right? She is overweight, significantly. Clearly, she has an unhealthy lifestyle that she needs to start changing. It's there, okay? But what was amazing to me is that there are way more women out there that are fit, that are in great shape, like relatively lean bodies, very mindful about health and fitness, and look pretty vibrant and healthy. If this woman will walk next to me in the street, I would never assume that she has this kind of issue that she's dealing with. And I was shocked to learn that this is most of women that are suffering from infertility. And surprise, surprise, I was this person. I was always fit, really relatively healthy, right? I was a personal trainer for over a decade and spending a ton of time in the gym. I still spend a ton of time in the gym. And I was like, wow. But then when I started to dig into understanding fitness, nutrition, and realizing that really, why is this happening? Okay, so why is this happening? Most of these women are basically on a pretty low fat diet.
Yes.
And also on a low carb diet. So low fat, low carb, and in a constant conversation with calories, with counting, with weighing.
Yeah. We've all been there.
I have pictures on my Instagram of myself walking with my 6-pack little baggie when my 6 meals per day.
Oh my gosh. What is it?
6-pack bag.
Oh, the 6-pack bag. That's right. I forgot about that thing.
I was so upset when they took away my ice packs in the airport because they don't allow it.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
And so I have pictures of myself being this person in weight. I have tons of pictures on my social media posting how I ate my 6-7 meals a day with my lean chicken breast and a little bit of lettuce. And, I competed in bodybuilding. So I really understand how does a diet that is for a woman that is looking for those fitness goals should look like. And so that, with everything I know today, it really totally makes sense that this will be the most likely women that will suffer from PCOS, from endometriosis, and whatever the reason is that they're not capable to conceive. it's there. It makes total sense. So these are the two types. And the second type is really, really tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are. I mean, it's kind of. It's just because people are so focused on appearances, you know, like, and they're not thinking about like mineral status, you know.
Everything is about losing weight. Lose weight.
And all the things that feed our hormones and our, you know, neurotransmitters and all those things. But I mean, you talked about obvious that you went through this, so. I just, you know, we've had several guests in the past to talk about things revolving around this. But I would like to know, just in your opinion, what are the most important areas? Like, so you mentioned dietary and you mentioned environmental. We'd love for you to kind of talk about those two, because you mentioned, of course, low carb, but then at the same time, you know, the person does need fat.
Right.
So talk a little bit about, you know, from the environmental side, what people can be doing, because that one's really important.
That one's huge, and that one's neglected too. Like that,
super neglected.
Most people go to diet. Like, you know, if they're gonna go to something and they're trying to be holistic, I think they would go to the diet first, maybe exercise, but we don't think about environmental or lifestyle, like stress and stuff like that. So and the
environmental toxins and
the toxins.
Yeah.
So fantastic. I love to talk about this, not less than I love to talk about nutrition. So, because it's also very related environment. So clearly there's a lot of toxins. So we find estrogen almost in everything that we consume today.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want any woman to be confused after hearing this and look for estrogen in the ingredients of her shampoo, because it's not going to be there. Okay, so we have to understand that there's a lot of other names for estrogen, that just like there's a lot of other names for sugar, and we learn to identify them. There is a lot of other names to estrogen, and basically we can give some rule of thumbs in terms of using ingredients. So when a woman is struggling with getting pregnant, she obviously needs to be more cautious and take the next level of taking care of her environment. So everything that is related to moldy environment, so mold has a lot of estrogen in it. Smells. So in America,
oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, the smells.
Yeah,
yes.
The what do we call those? What are the smells?
Parabens,
yeah.
So in America, what's the name of that essential oil? The flower, lavender.
Lavender?
Lavender.
Yes, lavender.
Is actually super estrogenic. Okay, so whenever we want to search for estrogens, I will refer to a great book, Estrogeneration. I love it. He covers all the estrogens that you love it, right?
That's one of our closest friends.
That's one of our good friends.
I go hunting with him. Yeah, he's like,
the author?
Yeah, he's like a brother.
Yeah, the author.
Yes,
the author.
So
that book blew our mind.
Definitely. So he's pointing on that there, and it's a very common thing in America, using candles and essential oils, and lavender is everywhere, and there's so many things. So definitely when I talk with clients is lotions, shampoos, detergents, everything that is creates smells, essences in the house. All of these things needs to be removed completely from our atmosphere, from the houses, from the everywhere. Even if it's in your office, really try to get away from that. Everything that touches your skin, okay, everything that is going through your breath and all of your senses is really need to be clean and filtered and get as close as it can to 3 to 4 ingredients in there. So if you're using a shampoo that you buy, I don't know where, Bath Body, that's horrible. I mean, it's just all about smell, right? There's several companies right now that are starting to produce cosmetics that are animal fat based, and I highly recommend to switch to those. I have to admit, They don't usually have the best smell. They don't usually have even like the best maybe feeling. But hey, these are also things that we're just conditioned to think about in a certain way. And I just started to buy for my toddlers a different shampoo from a new company that I'm just trying. So I don't know if I want to recommend it yet, but I use it for myself. I didn't really like it. It just felt greasy and like weird because she puts coconut oil and tallow in there. It's amazing. I want these things on my body, but I want them to feel good also. So
yes.
And there's no SLS either.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
We're going to support them, and we're going to give them feedback, and we're going to let them evolve, right? Because this is what we're doing.
Right.
We're going to help them. But this is definitely what I really recommend. So we're going to pay attention to environment. So that's sun consumption, right? Oftentimes the doctor would say, well, you need to take vitamin D that can increase your, fertility. But how much are you exposed to sun?
Yeah.
How much sun are you getting? And in what time of the day? So that will be way more important than consuming a vitamin D supplement. I always going to refer back to Mother Nature. There's no way around it. You're going to have to give yourself this sun bath. Like we're doing with our kids once a day. Either me or my husband will literally take it in the backyard with the two kids.
Awesome.
And we just let them hang out for like 20 minutes and just absorb all of this. And we're going to do it somewhere between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mind-blowing, right? Like, yes, this is the time. Unless you see that the UV is really high, all right, so let it go. But if the UV is healthy, take this time. Now, understand that when you combine the right nutrients from your diet, will then help the sun to do its work and to convert this cholesterol into this vitamin D into the cholesterol and continue the cycle, feed the body with all the nutrients that we need and the environmental, prevent environmental blockages, toxins that prevent from the nutrients to absorb well and allow them the good stuff to come. So environment, it's like I said, just, like lotions, smells, deodorants, perfume. Right? Like even perfume, like reduce those things as much as you can. And that will be the fundamental.
We
what's funny?
Cologne on like on an anniversary when
If
we go over there, maybe we dress up, but other than that, we're not like showering and putting perfume.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny? Something that we've noticed because it's already, and the same thing happens with food, how we desensitize ourselves. I used to not really notice these smells, but once you stay away from them for so long, for example, I would go to my mom's house and I could not, I finally got her to change it. I was like, Mom, I can't even sleep on these sheets.
Yeah.
The smell is so strong.
It's too much. Yeah.
That it's giving me a headache. Like it's thick almost. And I'm like, it's this Tide, like this detergent that you're using. You got to use something else that doesn't have all these fragrances. So it's so funny how you actually become more sensitive to it over time. I can't even stand those smells. Like I walk by that store in the mall and I'm like, oh gosh, it's so bad.
And the worst thing is like with the cleaning, with the personal care stuff, like you're using that every day. Yeah.
The deodorants. I tell my friends, I'm like, dude, just sweat it out they're like, well, I'm sweating. I'm like, you got to detox. Like you're going to be sweating for at least a few weeks. You've been doing this every day. Your whole entire life suppressing that sweat gland. So it's
and it's not easy because a lot of these women are so concerned with how they look. And it's those when they're in this sensitive situation, they're relying on a lot of this external good feeling things that they need in order to feel better about themselves. To wear my makeup in the morning, to put my perfume, to smell good to my husband. We're like telling so many stories and it's really tough in that sense to really let go. So here's the thing. So whenever I work with clients, so there's 3 components, right? So like we said, mindset, environment, and nutrition. So I want to be super honest here. If a woman would just take the nutrition component, and neglect everything else, but she would be super, super obedient in that area, she will probably make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just be honest. So nutrition is my 99%. The 1% is environment and mindset, because you can have a very bad state here. It's just the reality. Like, we can't lie about this. I have to be honest. You can have a horrible mindset, be totally negative, eat the right food, and get pregnant.
It's true. 100%.
But don't we want it all? Like, don't we just want? And that leads me to a huge mindset thing that every woman that is trying to conceive and can't really need to change and master. It's really big, because when you ask a woman that is struggling, what does she want more than anything else? She would tell you to get pregnant. But when you start to dig deeper, you're asking, wait, is this really what you want? Because what if you get pregnant and you get a miscarriage? Because it's very, very common. It's very common. The miscarriage rate is ridiculously high when you're not implementing the changes.
That's very true.
So this is a lot of the times why women are going through multiple cycles of IVF, because they have the miscarriage happening there. So really what you want to focus on is to have a healthy child that is coming out of this pregnancy. You want to look at the end result, the end goal, and strive for that, and think about that, and have that in your mind, and all the questions and all the affirmations and all the things that you're going to be doing through your process are going to be directed to the end result, which is not getting pregnant, which is having a healthy, safe birth and child. That's what you really want. This is a mindset game changer that many women are just like, oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's just that this getting pregnant, this, posting this picture of
the posting the little stick, right?
It's positive. And then you see a bunch of posts of women that are posting, his life was so short, but it was impactful. Great. Have you received the result that you wanted? Is this what you're striving for? Right. Let's be honest. Like, let's just think about this for a second. We want to get you to a healthy baby. And then we want to make another healthy baby and another healthy baby, as many as you want. This IVF thing is just solving a tiny little thing.
I agree so much. It's so true. You do become obsessed with like the test. It even happened to me. And I was like, I was going with my diet. For me, I feel like it was a lot of maybe the mindset stuff. I became obsessive about it. And then it's just hilarious how it all works. Like, you're doing the what would I do? Oh, my body temperature. I would do my basal body temperature, the ovulation strips, all of this crazy stuff for 9 months. The 1 month that I said I'm done, because I was going to get, see if I needed to get a knee surgery. And I was just like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, I guess I'll just wait. It's so funny. That month I got pregnant, and it's like my mindset. I wasn't even trying. I wasn't tracking what day it was. Like,
it was actually early. Remember? Because
I don't remember, but
I remember perfectly.
It's just hilarious.
I'll tell you, because I remember this perfectly. I'll never forget, like, the first or second month, she started to read about conception and learn about it and about how hard it is. And she goes, did you know that this, and this? And I'd be like,
so
no. And then it became like a chore. And it's funny, I was going to ask about this, but I feel like we covered it already. So I'll skip this question. But like, it's so hilarious because I was leaving town, remember?
No.
I remember this perfectly. I was leaving town, and it was like day 11. We still kind of knew like what day it was. That's how.
You're wrong, but it's okay. You don't remember anything. We were going to look at Amy's, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, this is what I remember. I remember that I had to leave town for a trip, and that we thought that it was early in, but it didn't matter. I was leaving town, and we weren't really. It wasn't something that we were really caring about, and we just said we're going to schedule the orthopedist appointment. We scheduled the orthopedist appointment,
And I never made it. Yeah.
and the next month you were pregnant.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it.
Oh yeah. I scheduled the appointment, but I was like, and then I never made it.
Yeah. So yeah.
That mindset piece is somehow
So what
important,
you did,
but I agree with you on the diet.
what you did, you let go. And that's, again, one of the things that I'm teaching in mindset, that we have to let it go. We have to let it go, and then just be immersed in the process into making the right choices on a daily basis, and let go of the thought. And that's it. It's a part of, it's a very important component. Many times I get that. I just like, I was just like ready to let it go for a while, and then boom, the magic is happening. And I totally believe in that. And another thing is that many times when women they're looking for that result so badly, the pregnancy, that they're willing to sacrifice how the pregnancy is going to be like, and understand that an IVF pregnancy is setting you up for a pregnancy that is in risk in any way. So from conceiving twins where you're not necessarily want, or triplets, or even more, to, oftentimes couples need to make a decision to eliminate one embryo. And that's super painful, that you're putting yourself in this condition because of the process that you're choosing. And then you're putting yourself into a high risk for diabetes, gestational diabetes, and a bunch of other, it's just a roller coaster. And it doesn't end. And so what's the most common mindset that you have heard a woman going into pregnancy when she starts to having the morning sickness and all of this stuff, all of the things? You would hear something like, well, pregnancy is hard and parenting is really hard, so it's just preparing me for life. Yeah. Right? It's the most common one. And I'm like, no. This is not how I want my experiences in life to be like. And I'm telling you that it doesn't have to be like that. So true. It doesn't have to be like that. And again, social media is full with false information. We have all of this beautiful infographics, or women that are actually posting themselves with a little sign with the letters, this is how it looks like. And she's throwing up into the toilet in the first 3 months. And I'm saying, listen, it doesn't need to be like that. You don't have to. And if you understand that the whole time from the second you conceived, your baby is communicating with you and it's telling you what to do. So if you're vomiting, if you're feeling extremely tired, if you're having heartburns, if you can't sleep, it's really your body and the baby inside of you telling you, mommy, I need something else. Something here needs to change, because there's a direct correlation between the food that we're eating to nauseousness and to all of the other phenomena that we're educated to think that it's absolutely normal. Everybody's like that. So when I went through my pregnancy, I should have thought, oh my God, I'm not normal. What am I doing? I'm not normal. I don't experience all of these things. What is happening? What's wrong with me? Right. Yeah. And instead I was like, oh, maybe that's how it should be like when you're doing it right. Yep. And I have a protocol for the week before the delivery, where a woman should be eating the diet in a certain way in order to give herself a very pleasant birth. So for the birth itself, there's a specific protocol for what to do in that time, which is really different than the rest of the time, because our body and hormones are changing. And there is a way to prepare the ligaments of the pelvis to become more flexible in order to get this delivery faster and literally more pleasant. We had both of our sons at home in a home birth, and it's a life-changing transformation. Yes. I mean, I can talk just about this endless amount of time. And I'm telling you that I was capable to do that only because of this thing. And it's not luck. There is no luck here. It's just doing certain things that create this result. And any woman can do that. Any woman. And I think it's a huge gift, right? So when you're starting to think about, when you're talking to a woman that is suffering from infertility, talking with her about how your labor is going to be like and having an easier pregnancy and then recover from pregnancy within 2 weeks and go back to your normal life. This is all like just like such a dream that they find it really hard to even put that on their bucket list because it's just so far away. And I want to get that closer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you deserve. That's what you can get. But that's what you should have. That's what I want every woman to have. To let go of everything that we believe that a pregnancy and child delivery should look like. Let go.
So good. Yes, this is so true. And that's amazing that you had your home births. My sister, she had 2 home births. And all of this stuff plays in. It's like we need to realize that everything, like we're taught to fear. We're taught to fear, even the way that they portray child labor in movies, right? Like the woman is like screaming and like all this stuff. So you go into it with fear, like you go into it, you're resisting something that you should be open to. So yeah, I love that. We need more people spreading this around so that more women can have better experiences. But again, there's always money to be made for certain things.
Yeah.
And we're constantly going to just be battling that. And so I'm just grateful to have like platforms like this where we can reach people because there is another way. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we've covered so many of the
I know she answered a bunch of our questions. That's the thing.
I think this one, let's just talk about this in specific because then we can.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about this one.
Yeah. And then.
So we've heard so many success stories. We have from close friends and family on why the ketogenic diet has been so successful for them. There's even like a thing with keto babies because a lot of women that come into it with maybe PCOS, it's like, hey, be careful. You thought you couldn't get pregnant, but there's a lot of surprise keto babies, right?
Yep.
And that's so effective. But, in what other areas do you think, this lifestyle can improve a woman's fertility too, and just her ability to have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby?
So once a woman is starting, so first of all, I would definitely say that if a woman is struggling to get into the process, she needs to start with the diet about 2 to 6 months before. And
to get those micronutrients.
Right, exactly. So that's a good time. And that depends on how much damage the body has suffered before. That will basically determine how much time she needs to recover and replenish this nutrient loss. And just a little bit of side note, when it's between children, when it's between pregnancies, the recommendation is a minimum of 2 years. I haven't done that. I learned that after. And this is why I'm waiting now more because I'm going to have 2 more.
Yes.
But a good time to wait in between pregnancies is 2 years to replenish all of those nutrients back to the body, especially if you're nursing. It keeps on depleting the body from more nutrients. But that's exactly the point. This depletion of nutrients is really so much minimized when you're on this diet. So even if you're trying to lose weight after, to lose that baby weight after, in between, you will still more likely to replenish your body, even though you're trying to lose weight and get, into a better shape without losing your milk if you're trying to nurse. And that will be just the best thing to do in terms of giving back the body the nutrient that he needs. Now, in the pregnancy itself, so you will be free from nausea. You would not suffer from swollen
Swollen legs and ankles.
Like knees, feet, all of
Yes.
like your body's just like even breast tenderness is absolutely. It's just no, it's not there. It doesn't exist. Pain back, joint issues, pains, all of those things are totally eliminated while you're in the diet and in pregnancy. Now, our insulin sensitivity is changing throughout the months of pregnancy. So in the third trimester, the woman is actually using her fat as her prime source of fuel, regardless on what diet she is. Even if she's on a high carb diet, in a processed diet, on a bad diet, sad diet, doesn't matter. Her body is mainly using fat as a prime source of energy. So what does that mean, by the way, for the preferences of the baby? Right? Because the baby's just receiving all the energy. He chooses what kind of energy he wants to grow on, and he chooses fat. And there's actually science that shows that he is taking from the mother he's extracting every bite of ketones that he can in order to grow.
Yeah.
So in that part, she will really experience better sleep, like really, really high quality sleep. Energy, it's unbelievable. It's just you don't experience those fatigue, crashes, and you're really are capable not just to work basically until the day that you're delivering, but if you're working out, like for me, it was super important to perform in the gym throughout the whole pregnancy. I'm weightlifting and I'm doing CrossFit. The day before I delivered both of my kids, I was squatting heavy at the gym.
Yes,
okay.
I love
So
it.
for a woman that is caring about her fitness and want to maintain that, it's really important. Another huge thing is, listen to this, being in an anabolic state. So when a woman is pregnant, by definition, she's in anabolic state because she is growing a human. It's just what's happening.
Yes.
So how beautiful it is that you can use the pregnancy to put on more muscle on yourself.
That's such a great
Just to use this.
That's amazing.
Just to use this condition to put more muscle on yourself, so that, we all understand the benefit of putting more muscle. Okay, then you get to experience a way easier birth because you're nurturing all of these ligaments and tendons and muscles with everything that they need to open up, to stretch, and to go back to a normal size after pregnancy. And so fast and easy, the recovery is just unbelievably fast. Stretch marks, we don't have them on pregnancy, okay, in a keto diet. Why? Because you're giving your body so much collagen and so many of those amazing B's that help you to not even have that phenomena. More? So many, right? And then you will see that the body will just go into that phase, the recovery part, so much faster. You would lose that belly bump that many women are walking with like 3, 4, 6 months after. I remember my midwife, in my first pregnancy, my midwife is vegan. And she experienced this pregnancy with me. And she's like, I don't support what you're doing. But whatever it is that you're doing, it's working. Keep on doing what you're doing. And she just saw my body. She came to visit 2 days after the pregnancy, after the delivery with my first one.
Wow.
And she was like, I don't understand. I don't understand this.
That's amazing.
Another thing that is very important is in the nursing phase. So here's what happens and can confuse and freak out a lot of women that are going into that phase. It's really important. So milk is coming in and we need the baby to start nursing, right? To get that done. And so what happens is that because we're on the keto diet and we want to maintain that, the breast is not fueling up with liquids as the breast of the woman that is on a high carb diet. So it's just retaining water, basically. When we eat more carbs, we retain more water in all of our body and also in the breast.
Yeah.
So then women, it's a psychological thing that you have to understand. What happens is because my body doesn't retain water from carbohydrates, I don't get that full breast that women are used to be maybe on a high carb diet before the previous pregnancies, and now they're not. So they get confused. And now they start to think that they're not producing enough milk. And they start to doubt themselves. And then they start to listen to the mother-in-law. And then they start...
Yes, thank you.
That's so
That's so
true.
Just get on formula.
Nothing but a high carb diet. And what are you doing to your child? And
Or start drinking some malt.
For you, and stop it. And you're keep those noises on mute. Understand that you are right now producing dense, nutrient-dense milk for your child. And that doesn't need a lot of volume of liquid. You want to give him more liquid? Give him water. Okay? So yes, of course, he needs to receive water from breast as well. But it doesn't mean that, that needs to be 90% of what he's receiving. What he needs to receive is the nutrition from it. And so this is why you would see many women that are on a high carb diet nursing for like an hour. The baby is there for an hour and he's not full. He's not, he's not getting enough nutrition. He's getting water, but not enough nutrition. And then after 2 hours, he's hungry again. Okay. Unlike a woman that is on the keto diet while nursing, and she's already adapted to the diet, she would be capable to nurse 5 to 10 minutes and then have this baby rest from eating for 5, 6, maybe 7 hours. Pretty fast. We go to that stage. Like within a month or two, we get to a point where the baby can eat every 3, 4, 5. I got to like 9 hours sometimes with a 1-month-old baby. And
it's like the baby's fasting and feasting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really, really important to understand that because that's, again, a psychological thing that we tell him. He's a baby. He needs to grow. He needs to eat very often, every 2 hours, every hour and a half. That's how it should be. He's not eating. I'm stressed. No. Trust me, a baby, he can tell you when he's hungry. He can tell you when he's hungry. He will tell you. And plus, check the weight. If your baby is gaining weight all the time, does it really matter if he eats every 7 hours or every 2 hours? If he poops, if he's peeing, pooping, and growing, I mean, what? Okay, so eliminating this outsourcing constantly. I mean, I made this mistake. Listen, in my first pregnancy, I already knew all of this. And because it was my first, I allowed self-doubt to come in and to play with my mind. And I allowed, I love my mother-in-law, okay? And I'm sure that she wanted the best for me, but she didn't understand what I'm doing.
Of course.
And
a lot of the time they're not interested in understanding.
Absolutely. So be knowledgeable, know what you're doing, stop outsourcing self-confidence. Ask somebody that knows, that really knows.
Exactly.
And that really takes me to, information that is out there. I read a lot of books, and I honestly even love to read like things that are controversial to what I'm teaching. And I think it's important. And I haven't read all the books out there about fertility, but there is a lot of books about PCOS, hormones, endometriosis, diet, infertility, a lot. So my question is, why is infertility rising? I mean, if you can read everything in a book.
It's not for a lack of info.
Okay. Yeah. And what's happening there, they do break down the and make the woman, the reader, understand what's happening in terms of our hormones in the body. But then what they do is generally they prescribe a low glycemic diet. That's the most common diet that is out there on websites, on very highly rated fertility related books. Low glycemic diet. And I want to say something about this. If I need to choose whether to have a low glycemic high in carbohydrate diet versus I can eat a tiny little piece of sugary, unhealthy piece of cake once a day that has less than 20 grams of sugar in it, carbohydrate in it, I will choose option number 2. Because, and again, it's not like this is what I think we should be choosing on a daily basis, but if I decide to go with a keto diet or I decide to go with any kind of diet, the lowering down of carbohydrates is way more important than the type of carbohydrates that we're eating. And this is a big thing in all of the books that are prescribing diets. They're going to the healthy carbs, eat the healthy carbs, eat the low glycemic carbs. Yeah. But when you're eating low glycemic carbs and you're loading with them, the body doesn't know the difference.
Exactly, it doesn't.
So women have to understand, and I totally get the frustration when a woman says, I tried everything. My diet is the best. I'm eating the best foods on the planet. It's rich in fruits and vegetables and whole rice and quinoa and like, and fat and animal fat and egg yolks and beef liver and sardines.
Yes. Ooh, sardines.
Okay, so what is it more, chicken breast or chicken thighs? You know? Yes. So this is a huge shift that we have to do. Okay? And understanding that this whole low fat, healthy carb is just not the way to go. It's not the way to go.
This was so good. Liya, seriously, thank you.
You touched on so many things that I didn't think of.
Yeah, I love, well, there's a few things. Number one, you talked about something from the very beginning that we've been so focused on, which is the importance of language. And like, I love that you mentioned, because I recently was, that one episode that I told you about the believe it or not, this, you'd be surprised. This was about, I don't know if you've ever heard of Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the Gulag Archipelago. Totally unrelated subject.
Unrelated.
It was about, communism, but basically they were talking about blame versus responsibility.
Yeah, blame.
And how responsibility has been conflated with blame.
Yes.
And blame is not, ultimately, if it's something bad, then blame could be responsibility. There's a little bit of an overlap.
Right.
But taking responsibility is so empowering. And so many people, especially when things aren't going their way, they may not be looking for it, but all they're given is reasons to not accept responsibility because there's always someone trying to help, and usually the person trying to help you is really also trying to help themselves more than anything. So taking responsibility, number one. I love how you mentioned the way this is something that we're going to start incorporating too, like telling people, like, everybody knows now that there's like now 70 ways that sugar are listed that are not sugar.
Yes.
And now we should.
But we don't think that way about estrogen.
Yeah, xenoestrogens. People should know all the different names. Yeah. And for example, Maura loves Beauty Counter because it performs and it's actually healthy. And if you want, what is the Never Ever list?
Yeah, I'll send it. But we're starting there, right? Like we're starting in the beauty industry, but the truth is that if you don't really, it's just with like the makeup and you have to be one of these people that like is interested in this, but we need to tell people like the same thing. It's with everything, right? And I love that you talked about like even the texture and the smells, because these are things that we are conditioned to think that we need. And one example that I love to use because it's so obvious, and I've been using like this bentonite clay-based toothpaste for a really long time. And so the foaming, that's another thing, like the fact that it's foamy, people think they need that. They're like, oh, it doesn't foam. I'm like, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's like you're conditioned to actually need these textures.
So
crazy.
the same with shampoo. If it's foamy so much.
Same with shampoo. If it doesn't foam, it's not cleaning, but that's not true.
Like, look, I like one thing that another analogy that I'll use is when we used to eat more carbs, we would have a variance in the way we looked from day to day.
Oh yeah.
Some days we would look skinnier, some days we would look, puffier.
The water.
And the same thing with smells. Like we would smell good sometimes and smell bad sometimes. Like you always smell good, Always. My wife always.
We went camping. I didn't
good.
shower.
Camping.
But that's because of my diet. I truly believe that it's like my diet.
Yeah. Your diet, but also we've already gone, and everybody's on their own path. And going back to taking responsibility, the cool thing is that it's okay to be where you are. We were where you are, and now we're just a little bit ahead of you. All we have on you is time for certain people, if you're just getting started. And you will get to where we are, and that's okay. But you just keep on learning more and more. Yeah. So, I mean, all of these things are just
because it can be intimidating, and I understand that. Like even when we tried to get rid of plastic, right? And we did it, but it's so intimidating at first. Like when you read that book, right? We read the same book, Estro Generation, and I tell my friends, I go, this is the best book, but it's also the worst book, because not that it's the worst book, but it's really bad news. Yeah. It's really bad news, but there's a solution at the end. And the reason that I say it's kind of bad news is because it's one of those things that it's so daunting to think of how it infiltrates every aspect of our life. Because the truth is that no matter what we do, even if we are our products, like everything, we're still going to be exposed. Yeah. We're still going to be exposed. That's why we need to utilize things like the sauna and stuff like that to try to detox where we can. So I can understand how people can get overwhelmed, but you just do one thing at a time. Like start with something. Start with your deodorant. Start with your self-care products. Then go like little by little. When you run out of those plug-in things, don't refill them. Throw it out. Yep. Try to use, just try to use something else. There's so many products now. Yeah. We didn't have products when I was, and when you were speaking, it was kind of blowing my mind too, because I had 2 different pregnancies and 2 separate experiences with 2 separate lifestyles. And it's so true. With my first, I was eating whatever I wanted, high carb, terrible recovery from labor, just very painful, hard pregnancy, swollen. My second, I was doing the Weston A. Price diet for nursing and pregnant moms. Low carb. I was already doing paleo, but very low carb and high fat, drinking my raw milk and I didn't have any of this. I didn't have any of these symptoms. And the recovery, I didn't even think of the recovery part. I felt like I got up and walked out of that
when you were
that labor like nothing, right?
You were doing pull-ups at 7 months.
I was doing CrossFit
it's so true. And you had it was a 45-minute pushing with vomiting compared to 10 minutes of pushing and just looking at me like as if nothing. Yeah. And people can argue, oh, that's your second pregnancy, but still it's night and day. So
source your milk and eggs.
Well, if we do have milk, we're always going to go for raw. We barely ever have milk. Like we just don't have a lot of milk lately. We both love raw milk and raw dairy.
And raw goat milk too.
Are you connected to
So we have a farmer. We have a local farmer. Yeah, we're lucky. We have a local farmer here that when he's got it available, he'll call us up. Hey, we've got some raw milk. I'm like, okay, I'll get some. Tomorrow, And he's got eggs too.
And duck eggs.
Yeah, and duck eggs. So we try to source whatever we can. We just found a local rancher where we get our meat. That's another thing, supporting these small farmers and taking the kids to see the process. It's super important.
And you talked about too, like how we're going to be exposed no matter what. If we're at the level of we're going towards level 10 now, where we're trying to leave the city. And that's it's maybe not in the very close future, but it's the next step. And it's like becoming now just moving further away from the food system and the, what do you call it? The chain,
The hamster wheel.
no, like, well, that too, the hamster
The
wheel, but I mean,
hamster wheel?
the supply chain.
Oh, the supply
Moving away
chain.
from the supply
Yes.
chain and just in every part of your, and all of this stuff is so related, you know, it's very much related, because if you are dependent on a system where almost everything is so tainted already, you know, you're going to complain. Of course you're going to complain, because you're still dependent on the system. But when you don't need the system anymore, or you have local friends that can take care of all of these things for you, then you don't have to complain anymore. And that goes back to having a good mindset and being happy. So where can people find you? We're going to put a link, of course, to what is it? It's Resilient Fertility. That's the name.
Yes, the YouTube.
Where else can people find you?
Yeah, any other exciting projects you have that you want to share?
Well, I'm currently perfecting my the program that I'm making that is built on my 3 pillars: the mindset and environment and nutrition. So that's right now what I'm focused on. And you can any woman that wants to enjoy more of my content on my Facebook group, I Am Fertility, and I Am Fertility.
Okay.
And my YouTube channel, like you said, Resilient Fertility, and of course my Instagram, where I communicate constantly with women that are looking for solutions, and that's Liya Tep. And yeah, that's all right now. For now.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Liya. This was
Thank you so
awesome.
much for
We're so
having
happy that we got
Thank
you.
you so much for coming
Thank you.
on.
Yes, it was
And
great.
I really hope to connect more and grow and learn as much as we can together. And that's our community. So we should nurture it as much as we can.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.